And on the spotlight today is celebrated Ghanaian filmmaker Shirley Frimpong-manso as she shares working experience with Nigeria and Ghanaian cast in the middle of a jollof rice war. The protracted social media-based rivalry between Nigerians and Ghanaians didn't come to play as Ghanaian filmmaker and African Academy Award-winning director Shirley Frimpong-manso unites Nigerian and Ghanaian actors on a new flick, Potato.
This is your official space. 2 bedrooms and half of the kitchen and half of the compound.
Hey baby, let's sugar dumpling. I really want to tell you something.
I expect to be told if I'm going to be running to strange shirtless men on my lawn.
That is my half of the lawn.
I guess that's your side of the kitchen.
I think this is a bad idea.
From the man who is living with his ex-wife.
Would you bring a hot-looking gentleman into the home you share with your ex-husband?
No, but I won't share the same house with my ex-husband.
The movie stars Nigeria's Osiu KJ, Joke Silva and Kemi Lala Akindoju alongside Ghanaian raves like Jocelyn Dumas, Chris Atto and Nikki Samonas, amongst others.
You must be Lulu. I am Marion, Mr. Tony's help.
Help.
Yes, the help. Well, I hope you don't mind. I took some of your sugar to make Tony, Mr. Tony's tea. He's run out, and I will later go for shopping for him.
Ahead of its box office premiere, Potato made impressive film festival rounds, including the prestigious Cannes Film Festival, Chelsea Film Festival, the Durban Film Festival, and only recently, the Africa International Film Festival in Lagos, Southwest Nigeria.
Please give it up. My question is, so you read a script and you find that you'll be needing to kiss different women like 200 times from start to finish. Do you take special classes or you just go with your natural talent? How did you pull that off?
It was, the thing is, we're all very nervous, it was our very first screening, and so and it was, you could almost say it's alien territory, because, we get very comfortable with our own African audiences. We know how the reactions are. The reactions were very good. We had a room, full of white people, and we also had, some Africans who came to support, and the reactions were very good. I think some of the feedback was that they didn't realize just how beautiful Africa was. There are a lot of stories out there that sort of basically just gives the general idea that Africa is, we are consumed with sickness and poverty, and there's all of this health hazards and stuff like that. And for them to see a film like Potato, the music, the costume, the locations, the language, and even the story itself, how we treat the subject of divorce and love, in a film like that. It seemed like a revelation for a lot of them, and I think that was a good beginning to our journey. Yes.
Shirley explores the trendy romantic comedy theme in Africa to tell the dark and ugly story of divorce. In recent times, the movie's subject matter appears to be a big deal, especially within the filmmaking community, with many young marriages falling apart. Chris Atto, one of the lead cast, is also in the news after his marriage to colleague Damilola Adegbite hits the rocks. Telling such a sensitive story at this time comes with a big sense of responsibility.
Excuse me. Yes! Well, who are you? Gabby. Miss Wilson's help. So, what else do you do around here apart from bathing Haka? Cook. clean. You know.
I see.
Hey, anybody told you look like Clark Kent?
I think that for a long time, I have come to understand that when it comes to relationships, it's unique to the two people who are in it. But I also, doing research and talking to people and basically just acknowledging what's happening around us, including what's happening in the industry. It really comes down to, I think that it comes, a lot of these breakups comes down to some very trivial issues. And a lot of the times it really comes down to egos, Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the issues are not that big. It really is how, you take it and I take it and what we do with it, and that's really the premise of Potato. When you look at the issues, they're very trivial, they're not very serious issues, but it's the serious issues that, sort of morph into these big ones because people are just not willing to listen. They are not willing to forgive. They are not willing to let go. And I think a lot of the real issues that are happening out there is the same. And so my thing was to treat the subject universally and not necessarily zone into any particular person's relationship.
Although in the real world, Ghana and Nigeria enjoy good bilateral relationship, on social media, reverse is the case. Citizens bicker over mundane issues, including local delicacies, who has the better sport team, actors, and whatnot. Luckily for Shirley, she didn't have to deal with this rivalry on her set.
I have a very beautiful relationship with my Nigerian, my Nigerian actors as well as I do with the Ghanaian actors. My thing with casting and with working with actors is really about the skill and not so much about who's coming from where. I think that it works better when you combine Nigerian and Ghanaian actors and perhaps South African and Kenyans as well. Because now, when you talk about Nollywood, it's really, as much as, Nigerians claim it, it's becoming more of a continental thing. Nollywood movies, I mean, I've sat on planes and stuff like that. I have seen my movies, tagged under Nollywood movies, and for me, it's really not such a big deal. So it's really about skill. It's also about the fact that if we really want to compete with Bollywood and Hollywood, we really need to approach these markets from a very united, angle. And for me, that's what it is. So you would be amazed at how, the Nigerians get along with the Ghanaians. On my set, there's no such thing as, who's great or who's not and things. The chemistry is amazing. We eat Ghanaian jollof rice and then we go on and we try the Nigerian one as well.
Then she couldn't resist throwing her weight behind the age-long banter on jollof rice.
I still think Ghanaian jollof rice is nicer. It's not because I'm Ghanaian, perhaps because I like my rice hard or something. But it's a beautiful relationship, and I'm my partners, my co-producers, my manager is Nigerian. It's for me, the lines are very, very, very blurred, and it's not a problem for me at all.
You will stop at nothing to see me miserable.
This from someone who asked me for a divorce. Let's not forget who broke up this marriage.
If you wanted it that much, why didn't you fight for it?
The way you fought for it, the way you did.
Tony, you know I fought for it. I worked my butt off.
Shirley has an impressive number of critically successful movies to her credit. A recurring theme in many of these movies is always a strong and fierce female character, which has caused some critics to label her sexist.
I champion female issues. The reason I do that is because I feel like there isn't enough platforms doing that, and I'm a woman. I have grown up in a very typical African setting, and I know what my challenges were growing up. And I know the kind of battles I've had to fight, you know, to be heard and to get to where I am. So this is a natural phenomenon for me. It is not something that I'm doing, you know, I haven't embraced something that I don't understand. This is the natural me, you know. I worry a lot about the young African female. You know, especially, you know, during the school going age, when you finish university, trying to find your life. There's so many challenges out there. And, you know, I like to encourage, you know, I like to use my movies to encourage a lot of young African females out there to want to stand up for themselves and do better. I think my message here is for young African females to work hard, you know, and not want to rely on, you know, finding a man who's going to take care of you. And so the movies that I do and the stories that I tell is to encourage, you know. So you see an African woman who's doing well, who's got her own business, but yet still, you know, she's in a marriage, she's got children, but she's still being able to do it. For me, that's my story.
He's run out, and I'll later go for shopping for him.
Potato opens in Nigerian and Ghanaian cinemas later in November.
Okay.